China opens its doors. Kenya set for massive export boom under zero tariff deal. Bloodbath in Chad. Boko Haram attack on army base leaves dozens dead. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for more news after the break. China opens its doors. Kenya set for massive export boom under zero tariff deal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your international business update. Tonight, we turn our attention to a major economic development that could reshape trade relations between Africa and Asia for years to come. Kenya is now among the biggest beneficiaries of China's new zero tariff trade policy, a move experts say could unlock billions in export opportunities and create thousands of jobs across East Africa. China has officially removed tariffs on nearly all Kenyan exports entering its market, giving Kenyan businesses unprecedented access to one of the world's largest economies. The announcement is already generating excitement among farmers, exporters, manufacturers and investors eager to tap into China's massive consumer population of more than 1.4 billion people. Under the agreement, approximately 98% of Kenyan goods exported to China will now enjoy duty-free access. That means products that once faced expensive import charges can now enter Chinese markets at far more competitive prices. The sectors expected to benefit the most include agriculture, mining, textiles, leather and processed foods. Kenyan tea and coffee producers are especially optimistic, as China's growing middle class continues to increase demand for premium imported products. But perhaps the biggest winner could be Kenya's avocado industry. Over the past few years, Kenyan avocados have become increasingly popular in China due to their quality and rich taste. With tariffs now removed, exporters believe demand could skyrocket even further, potentially turning avocados into one of Kenya's top foreign exchange earners. Macadamia nut exporters are also celebrating the decision. China already imports large quantities of nuts and healthy snack products, and Kenyan suppliers now believe they can compete more effectively against producers from other regions. Government officials in Nairobi say the agreement represents a major breakthrough in efforts to reduce Kenya's long-standing trade imbalance with China. For years, Kenya has imported massive amounts of electronics, machinery, construction materials, and manufactured goods from China, while exporting far less in return. Critics often argued that the relationship favored Beijing more than Nairobi, but Kenyan authorities now believe the new zero tariff arrangement could help reverse that trend by boosting local exports and increasing foreign currency earnings. Economic analysts say the benefits could extend far beyond trade numbers. If Kenyan manufacturers and farmers increase production to meet Chinese demand, the country could see significant job creation across farming, transportation, logistics, warehousing, food processing and shipping industries. Small-scale farmers may also gain access to new international markets that were previously too expensive or difficult to enter. Chinese officials describe the initiative as part of a broader effort to strengthen economic cooperation between China and African nations. The policy reportedly applies to dozens of African countries with diplomatic ties to Beijing and forms part of China's wider engagement strategy across the continent. Supporters of the deal argue that it gives African economies a rare opportunity to expand exports into a major global market without the heavy restrictions often seen in Western trade systems. However, experts are also warning that the opportunity comes with serious challenges. Exporters must still meet China's strict quality control, health, packaging and certification standards before products can enter the Chinese market. That means Kenyan companies will need to improve production systems, modernize packaging, and maintain international export standards consistently. Trade experts say failure to meet those requirements could limit how much Kenya truly benefits from the agreement. Infrastructure is another concern. Analysts note that Kenya must improve transportation networks, port efficiency, cold storage systems, and export processing facilities if businesses are to handle increased trade volumes successfully. Still, optimism remains high. Many economists believe this could become one of the most important trade breakthroughs for Kenya in recent years, especially at a time when African nations are searching for new export markets and stronger economic partnerships. For Kenya, the zero tariff deal represents more than just trade policy. It represents a chance to expand industries, attract investment, empower farmers, and strengthen the country's position in the global economy. And as competition for influence in Africa intensifies between major world powers, this agreement may also signal China's determination to deepen its economic footprint across the continent. The coming months will now determine whether Kenyan businesses can seize the moment and transform this historic opportunity into long-term economic growth. That's the latest on this major trade development. Stay tuned for more international business and economic updates. Bloodbath in Chad. Boko Haram attack on army base leaves dozens dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this breaking security update from Central Africa. Fresh fears are spreading across the Lake Chad region after a deadly Boko Haram assault on a Chadian military base reportedly killed at least 24 soldiers and left dozens more wounded in one of the most serious attacks in recent months. According to military officials, heavily armed Boko Haram fighters launched a nighttime raid on the Baka Tolorom army base located in the volatile Lake Chad region. The attack reportedly happened late Monday night as militants stormed the military position with heavy weapons, triggering intense gun battles that lasted for hours. Authorities say at least 24 Chadian soldiers were killed, while more than 40 others suffered injuries during the confrontation. Some reports place the death toll even higher, with security officials describing the attack as devastating for the Chadian military. The Lake Chad region has long remained one of Africa's most dangerous conflict zones. The area, which borders Nigeria, Chad, Niger and Cameroon, has become a major operational base for Boko Haram and its rival faction, ISWAP. Military sources say the militants attacked the island-based military post suddenly, catching troops in a surprise assault before security forces managed to respond. Chadian authorities insist that several attackers were also killed during the fighting and that the militants were eventually pushed back. Following the attack, Chadian President Mahamat Idriss Déby condemned the incident, describing it as a cowardly terrorist act. He promised that Chad would continue military operations against extremist groups until the threat is completely eliminated. The tragedy has once again exposed the growing security crisis around Lake Chad despite repeated military offensives by regional governments. In recent years, Chad's military has launched several operations aimed at crushing Boko Haram strongholds across the marshlands and islands surrounding the lake. After a major counteroffensive ended in early 2025, the Chadian army even declared that Boko Haram no longer had safe havens inside Chadian territory. But this latest attack appears to show that the insurgent group still retains the ability to carry out deadly coordinated assaults against military targets. Security analysts say Boko Haram fighters often take advantage of the difficult terrain around Lake Chad, using remote islands and waterways to hide from security forces and launch surprise attacks. The insurgency, which began in northeastern Nigeria more than 15 years ago, has since spread across several neighboring countries, causing tens of thousands of deaths and displacing millions of civilians. The violence has devastated farming communities, disrupted trade routes, and created one of Africa's longest-running humanitarian crises. Meanwhile, residents in affected areas are once again living in fear as governments across the region struggle to contain the insurgency. Following the latest killings, Chad announced a period of national mourning to honor the fallen soldiers. Flags were lowered to half-staff, while officials vowed renewed military action against extremist groups operating around the Lake Chad Basin. Regional observers warn that unless stronger cross-border cooperation is established among affected countries, militant groups could continue exploiting weak border security and isolated communities. For now, security forces remain on high alert as fears grow over possible retaliatory attacks and renewed militant activity across the region. This latest assault serves as another reminder that despite years of military campaigns, Boko Haram remains a dangerous force capable of launching deadly attacks across West and Central Africa. And that's all for today on Top Accolade News Nigeria, your trusted source for real stories, real voices, and real impact across the nation.